I'm Indy Nidell.
And I'm Burns.
And this is the Baseball History Time Machine.
Bringing you some baseball history you already know and a whole lot you probably don't know.
Yes.
And today we're bringing them Sluggers of the 1940s Part 3.
That we are, for there are still more 1940s Sluggers to cover.
You haven't even gotten to Stan Musial yet.
No, I have not got to Stan Musial yet.
Are we going to get to him now? Or?
No, actually, not yet. I still have more to talk about both Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio. Stuff I did not even get to last time.
What sort of stuff?
Big stuff and small stuff. Like, big stuff, like I didn't even mention DiMaggio's record 56-game hitting streak in 1941.
Which is a pretty amazing record and one that's going to be tough to ever break, right?
Do you know how DiMaggio was actually stopped?
No.
On July 17th against the Indians, he hit two hot grounders down the third base line, but Ken Keltner managed to handle both of them and throw him out at first. He also had a walk, and his final time at bat hit to short where Lou Boudreau started a double play, and the streak was over.
Streaks like that are a romantic sort of thing. Like, you know?
How do you mean?
Like something like that, or like maybe a close pennant race. I check box scores first thing when I wake up because, of the time difference since we're in Sweden. But, you follow it every single day.
I get it. And you're right. I mean, and think in 1941, no TV.
Yeah.
So you got to follow it religiously by checking the box scores religiously and listening to the radio.
It would be very hard to break that record today, like with all the relief pitching and lower batting averages.
And well, there's got to be an element of plate discipline, too. I mean, DiMaggio struck out just 5 times during the streak.
You'd need someone like Tony Gwynn to do something like that now, right?
Well, you also can't walk too often, right? Because those, when you walk, you don't get an at-bat, you get a plate appearance,
exactly.
And those are lost. Maybe a guy like Luis Reyes, he hit .354 the other year, and he walked just 35 times, and he had 34 strikeouts. And hey, fun fact.
Let's hear it.
After Keltner and the Indians broke DiMaggio's streak that day, right?
Yeah.
He hit in 16 more consecutive games after that. So he hit safely in 72 out of 73 games.
That makes it even more amazing.
How about this? Before he came up with the Yankees, he played with the San Francisco Seals in the Pacific Coast League.
Yeah, you said that last time.
Right. And with them, when he was still a teenager, he had a 61-game hitting streak.
Was that the record for the PCL?
It sure was. The previous mark had been 49. The overall minor league record, though, is 69 games by Joe Wilhoit.
I've never heard of Joe Wilhoit.
Challenge accepted,
okay,
right?
Go for
sure.
it.
Okay. Joe Wilhoit appeared in 3 seasons in the major leagues in the 19-teens, for 3 different teams, actually.
Okay.
But after 1918, it seemed like that was it for him.
Was he just like a bad hitter? Or?
No, not really, actually. He hit .257 for his career, but that was during the dead ball era, so that's not bad.
No.
And his career OPS plus is 101, so basically average.
Yeah.
And he at least appeared in a World Series in 1917.
So he went down to the minors and tore them up with his hitting?
No. He went first to Seattle in the Pacific Coast League in the minors, and he hit .165 for them in 17 games.
Yikes.
So he was traded down to Wichita in Class A ball. Now here's a quote about that from Joe Wilhoit's Sabre bio page. Going from the Giants and a World Series to post-World War I Wichita would have caused at least some veteran players to review whatever passed for retirement plans in that era. That Kansas City still was close to its roots as a stop on the Chisholm Trail, and the ballpark was on an island in the Arkansas River where in the summer sand was more likely to blow than water to flow. But Wilhoit said he welcomed the trade. A sports columnist wrote that the native Kansan found Wichita and the Plains more to his liking than the Pacific Northwest.
And then did he start hitting?
He did not. Really. After 25 games, he was hitting .198. This is Class A minor league. And then he started hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. Okay, the major league hitting streak record at the time was Willie Keeler's 44-game streak to begin the 1897 season, which is 45 games if you count the last game of 1896.
Yeah, sure.
Now, those 44 games, Pete Rose tied in 1978. That is the National League record. The minor league record before 1919, I think, was Jack Ness's 45 games with Oakland in 1915. But Wilhoit demolished it.
You said 69 straight games.
Yeah, 69 straight games. And he finished the season with a .422 average. Not just the best in the Western League that year, but according to his Sabre bio at least, the the best in organized baseball that year.
But what was the secret? What was the turnaround for him?
Wichita was owned by Frank Isbell, who had a pretty decent major league career himself back in the day. In fact, he played second base with the World Series winning White Sox in 1906, known as, the Hitless Wonders, because they had a .230 team batting average. And Isbell actually led the team with a .279 batting average.
Okay, so he had some cred, right?
He had cred. And he had Wilhoit stop using a thick-handled bat, a heavier bat, and use a thin-handled, lighter one. And that's what Wilhoit credits with that change. He hit over 500 during that streak. And the team went from dead last to contending for the pennant. And that's actually sort of, similar to what happened with the Yankees during DiMaggio's streak. They were in fourth place when it began, and then they were way out in first place when it ended.
And if Ken, what was it, Keltner?
Keltner, yeah.
Hadn't been a great fielder, DiMaggio would have broken Wilhoit's streak, right?
Yeah. Wilhoit, actually, he had a lot of near misses. He had 19 one-hit games during the streak. And, fun fact, in game 62, his lone hit was a game-winning homer, but in extra innings. And if the streak had ended at 61, DiMaggio would have tied it for longest minor league streak.
Why didn't Wilhoit return to the major leagues after that streak?
Aha! He did. Okay. I said Wilhoit played in 3 seasons, but that was before 1919.
Okay.
The streak, this was big national news. And there was a bidding war to bring Wilhoit back to the major leagues, won by the Boston Red Sox, who were World Series champs in 1912, 15, 16, and 18. And at that point still had Babe Ruth, although they did finish 6th in 1919.
How did Wilhoit do with them?
He hit .333 in 6 games, and he had 5 walks, so his on-base percentage was close to 500. But I guess that wasn't good enough.
No, how?
Well, I don't know, because that was the end of the major leagues for Joe Wilhoit. He did spend 4 years after that in the high minors, topping 300 each year, and finishing with Salt Lake City back in the Pacific Coast League in 1923. And get this, final year, he hit .360 with 238 hits.
And then what? Did he retire? Did he get hurt? Like, what happened?
Well, he was 38, and the PCL played like 200 game seasons, and he thought it, he thought it was just time.
Yeah,
he then went full time to running his Wilhoit luggage shop in Santa Barbara.
I love what major leaguers used to do in off seasons. A luggage shop. We should have a luggage shop.
Well, would it be Burns and Indy's quality luggage or India Burns?
India and Burge quality bagage. If you want to be
but you could come in, you could buy luggage, you could talk about baseball, we could have screens up.
That's the thing.
We'd have to have it in Santa Barbara as an homage.
Yes,
to the Wilhoit luggage shop.
We'd have to have his picture up, like at the back, and when people ask if they don't know,
who's that? That's Joe Wilhoit.
How do you not know?
69 straight,
bro,
69 game hitting streak.
Exactly. He was hitting like over 422. Like, what do you mean you don't know who this guy is? Like,
now,
come on.
I wonder if the Wilhoit luggage shop in Santa Barbara still exists. If it does, we're going to have to go there on a pilgrimage.
We have to.
It's going to be on our list of pilgrimage places.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Well, anyhow, that is all I can say about Joe Wilhoit. That's all I know.
In an episode about sluggers of the 1940s.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the sarcasm. Yeah. But hey, I have another streak I can talk about that's actually from a slugger of the 1940s.
And that one is?
Ted Williams' on-base streak in 1949.
All right, how many games?
I'll tell you after this.
So how long was Ted Williams' on-base streak in 1949?
84 games.
84?
Williams, as you know, walked all the time. So a hitting streak was going to be trickier for him, but an on-base streak is another thing entirely.
But 84, that's more than half the season.
It sure was. And that year, as we talked about last time, Williams nearly won a 3rd Triple Crown.
Yeah, you talked about the super close, 1949, 1945 batting titles. You were going to cover more of those today, right?
And I shall. Some of the closest batting races of all time. I thought that would be fun. But not yet.
No?
No.
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit about some stuff from 1948 and 1949, mainly 1948, but it has to do with Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams.
All right, shoot.
Now, I have the YouTube channel covering the Korean War week by week in real time.
Yeah.
Right? Well, one of my favorite sources for stuff that happened in the first year of the Korean War is a book called The Coldest Winter by David Halberstam. I mention this because he also wrote a baseball book about the same era called Summer of '49, which is magnificent. And everyone who's listening to this, your homework is to go and get that book. I have a copy here, actually.
Okay.
It's a magnificent book. I will get back to why I mentioned this, other than that it's good, in a minute. Okay, a few words about the end of the 1948 season.
Stage is yours.
Super exciting, super close. Three-way pennant race between the Red Sox, the Indians, and the Yankees. All three of them set attendance records. And I have to be clear, the late 1940s, way more than the 1950s, which people think. The late 1940s really was a golden age for baseball. Color barrier had been broken. Everyone was shattering attendance records. TV hadn't yet started eating into live audiences. The top players from those three teams, Williams, DiMaggio, and Cleveland's player manager Lou Boudreau,
yes,
they were having amazing seasons. Boudreau won the MVP. Everybody else won batting titles, homer titles, la la la. With a week to go, the three teams were in a dead tie for first place, a three-way tie for first place. The Indians pulled away, and they were 2 games in front with a couple games left to play. They had those games against fifth-place Detroit, but the Yankees and Red Sox squared off against each other. Right?
Okay.
Now, the Indians lost the first of those games.
Okay.
The Red Sox won the first game against the Yankees on a Ted Williams homer that also clinched the batting title for him. So the Sox are now 1 game behind the Indians with 1 game to go, and the Yankees are knocked out of the race. Side story here, courtesy of that Halberstam book. That night, Joe and brother Dom DiMaggio had dinner at Dom's place. Remember, Dom is the star for the Red Sox. Joe tells Dom, sure, they knocked the Yankees out of the pennant race, but he's going to do the same thing to the Red Sox the next day. He says this to his brother, right? And Dom says, well, I might have something to say about that. So the game comes, and Joe DiMaggio goes crazy. 4 hits, 2 of them long doubles, and Boston's still winning, but they're winning 5-4 going into the 6th. Dom DiMaggio homers, though, and the Red Sox eventually win 10-5. Now, in the 8th inning, Joe DiMaggio is replaced in center field, defensive replay, and limps off the field. Remember, he played the whole season with all those physical issues and played through all the pain. And that day, the Fenway Park crowd in Boston gives Yankee Joe DiMaggio a standing ovation. And Joe would later call it the single greatest thrill of his entire career. You picture that?
Wow, that's amazing. To have the opposition give you a standing ovation, you have done something spectacular, right?
Playing through all the 39 homers, 155 RBIs, through all that pain, knowing your feet are going to be operated on after the season. That's
and
just
you get a standing ovation? I'd cry.
From the Red Sox.
From the Red Sox. A bitter rivalry,
so, I'm getting teary talking about
100%.
it. So,
okay, but what about Cleveland?
Detroit beat them again, with Hal Newhouser getting his league-leading 21st win over Bob Feller. So the Red Sox and Indians are now tied for the pennant. The regular season's over, and they're going to meet in a 1-game playoff.
Could it be any more exciting?
Everyone thinks the Red Sox are going to start rookie star Mel Parnell. He was well-rested. He went 15-8 for the season with some really hard losses, so it could have easily been better. And his 3.14 ERA was half a run better than any other arm on the Red Sox.
They didn't start him?
Boston manager Joe McCarthy.
Joe?
Okay, in a minute. McCarthy decided to go with Denny Galehouse. Now, Galehouse was at the end of a decent enough 15-year career as both starter and reliever, but he'd gone 8-8 with a 4.00 ERA in 1948. Now, there was a lot of grumbling from the players over this call, especially backup catcher Matt Batts. The reason for this is he had been bullpen catcher in that finale versus the Yankees just the day before.
Yeah.
And Galehouse had been called to warm up in the pen time and again, which Batts thought that's the equivalent of pitching a 6-inning game. So he thought he's going to be tired just starting the game.
Yeah. Side note, though, Matt Batts, great name.
Yeah.
But I think we can see where this is going, right?
Yeah, you're correct. Now, this game was actually Denny Galehouse's final career start. And he lost it and the pennant 8-3. For the Indians, Gene Bearden picked up his 20th win. He would win Rookie of the Year honors.
I mean, I'd be pretty pissed off at McCarthy if I was a Red Sox fan.
They were livid, and many still are today. If you talk to really old Sox fans or old people who are Sox fans, they will remember 1948 the way me and Houston fans remember 1986.
I mean, I don't blame them.
This brings me to where I wanted to go off on a tangent. That was not the tangent I wanted to go off on, but this brings me where I wanted to go. I want to talk a bit, not a lot, but a bit about Mas Joe McCarthy.
Why did they call him that?
You know what? I never knew why when I was a kid. He was always called that in all my old books. M-A-R-S-E, Mars, right? But without explanation. turns out it's a Southern State version of Master Joe McCarthy, that he got given by sports writers in the 1930s.
Okay.
Master Joe McCarthy.
I see.
Master Joe McCarthy, right? Okay. Now, McCarthy was a legendary manager and an absolute Hall of Fame one. He managed in 24 seasons, 21 of them full seasons, and never, ever had a losing record. Right?
Oh, wow.
And in those 21 full seasons, never once came within 10 games of having a losing record. Oh, wow. His career winning percentage was .615.
Is that like the best ever?
It's behind a few Negro League managers who managed in just, a few hundred official games each. But other than that, only Dave Roberts, who's, now Dodgers manager like the past record, only he has a higher winning percentage. And hey, your Hack Wilson era Cubs?
Yes.
Well, McCarthy was their manager from 1926 to 1930, leading them to the National League pennant in 1929. Then he managed the Yankees in the AL from 1931 to 46, leading them to 8 pennants and 7 World Series titles. He was the first guy to win a pennant in both leagues and is largely credited for making the Yankees not only a major dynasty, but what people saw as a classy and elite organization.
How so?
Well, they always, and I mean always, wore coats and ties. And unlike other teams, they always traveled first class. And you always had to shave before coming to the baseball park. You were a Yankee. In public, you had to look like a Yankee. He also didn't like his players to drink, although he put up with it and he drank himself. And here, for you're going to like this, Barnes. This is a very funny story about drinking, also courtesy of Halberstam, all right?
Bring it on.
Okay, well, Hack Wilson was a serious drinker.
What did they say? A highball hitter both on and off the field?
That's what they that's what they said. Come on, that's Hack Wilson. You love Hack Wilson.
I love Hack Wilson. Hack Wilson's my guy.
Yeah, okay. Well, one day, McCarthy is lecturing Wilson about his drinking. Oh. And to illustrate his point, he poured a shot of whiskey into a glass filled with worms. And the worms quickly died. And Joe asks Hack, "So what did you just learn?" And Hack says that if I drink, I won't have worms.
I mean, observation. Hello,
so,
easy.
You gotta love
good observation. You gotta love him.
Well, it kind of makes sense.
I mean, he doesn't have worms.
No,
it's one of those things.
Okay, but McCarthy, after as many years with the hated Yankees, comes to the Red Sox in 1948. That was a big deal. That was his first year there.
Well, he made the lasting impression with Denny Galehouse debacle, right?
Yeah, but fair is fair. Okay, the Indians might have beat Parnell too.
Okay, but how did Parnell do in 1949?
In 1949? Next year, he went 25-7, and the AL has only had 9 25-game winners in the 75 years. Since then, he led the league in ERA, complete games, and innings pitched. Galehouse pitched 2 innings in 1949 in relief, and his career was over.
Okay, respect to McCarthy, but I think he might have made a mistake in that one playoff game. Just a little overestimation.
I get it. Yeah, he might actually have. But anyhow, when McCarthy comes to Boston before 1948, everybody wonders how he's going to deal with Ted Williams. Okay. Williams had his peccadillos. One thing, Williams absolutely hated wearing ties. So how is he going to get along with McCarthy, who insists on ties? Well, they turn up for their first meeting, right? And McCarthy is not wearing a tie.
Oh, really?
And when asked about it later, he says to reporters, "Anyone who can't get along with a 400 hitter does not deserve to manage in the major leagues."
Oh, well, he's right.
Yeah,
he's right.
So they managed to get along okay. Well, definitely on the surface.
Again, McCarthy was back to managing the Red Sox in 1949.
That he was. Although I will have to talk about that magical, pivotal season another time.
Okay, so you're actually going to talk about Sluggers of the 1940s.
I'm going to talk about Sluggers in the 1940s, but shut up. But yeah, Williams, who I did cover last time a bit, was, as we all know, the last guy to hit 400.
In 1941, same year as DiMaggio's streak.
Right, and DiMaggio won the MVP and Williams finished second. Now that was an interesting MVP race. Those guys were not the only guys who got first place votes.
Somebody actually thought someone was more valuable in 1941 than Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio. That's insanity.
Yeah, well, I don't know who this. It's a reporter. I don't know which news writer it was.
Misinformed is the word that I'm looking for.
Okay,
here.
I can tell you who the guy was who they thought was more valuable. Okay. Who got White Sox ace Thornton Lee, who pitched 300 innings. He went 22-11 for a 500 team, led the league with a 2.37 ERA, and he got 1 first place vote.
Nah, I don't see it. I'm sorry. I just don't see it.
Fun fact.
Okay.
There's a lot of fun facts today. Williams led the league in hitting, of course.
Yeah.
But DiMaggio, despite the streak, only finished third in the batting race.
Wow. Who was second?
DiMaggio hit 357, but Senator shortstop Cecil Travis hit 359.
You've talked about him before, right?
Yeah, in part one of a higher lifetime average than Cobb, when I talked about guys whose careers were derailed by World War II. Mm-hmm. Now, he finished sixth in the AL MVP voting in 1941. I have but one more comment to make about the 1941 American League Most Valuable Player Award.
Well, let's hear it.
After this. Indians left fielder Jeff Heath, who finished eighth, became the first American leaguer in history and the third player overall to hit more than 20 doubles, 20 triples, and 20 homers in one season.
That's pretty impressive. Has anybody done it since?
A few guys have.
Okay.
Willie Mays, George Brett, Curtis Granderson, and Jimmy Rollins. That's it. No one's ever done it twice.
So this guy, Jeff Heath, he's a slugger of the 1940s?
He is indeed. He maxed out in homers at 27 in 1947. But remember, there were years when that could have led the league in that decade, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And 6 times he was in the league top 10. 1947 was a prelude to his final hurrah. For in 1948, in just 115 games, he hit 20 homers and hit .319 for the Boston Braves, combining with 1947 MVP Braves third baseman Bob Elliott to give the punch that led the Braves to the National League pennant and a loss against the Indians in the World Series. Another fun Jeff Heath fact. He hit a homer in every National League park that year, becoming the first player to do that in both leagues, which he had accomplished with the Browns in the AL the year before in 1947.
But how did Heath play in the World Series?
He did not play in the World Series. Finally, heading for a World Series for the first time in his 14th season, he badly broke his ankle sliding into home just before the end of the regular season.
Talk about bad luck. Poor dude.
That pretty much derailed his career as well.
Yeah.
He played in 36 games in 1949, and that was it at the age of 34, with a .293 career average. And he tried to play in the minors in 1950, but in half a season, hit just .245.
Man, there's an awful lot of stories like that.
There unfortunately are.
So what are we going to talk about next? Now that I'm all depressed.
Well, I'm still not done. I'm not done talking about Ted Williams. Actually, I mean, I haven't even mentioned the Williams shift.
The Ted Williams shift.
It wasn't named after him.
The Ted Williams shift wasn't named after Ted Williams?
Well, the Williams shift was renamed after Ted Williams, but it was not originally named after Ted Williams.
You're hurting my brain. You've lost me.
You're gonna like this.
Okay.
Everybody out there is gonna like this. Everybody who doesn't know this, right?
Okay.
The Williams shift. So shifting the infield and outfield around, when you shift players.
Okay.
Now this is to shift them to right field, or the right side of the infield, to stop a left-handed pull hitter who always hits to right, was first used against slugger Cy Williams in the 1920s.
Well, how about that? Tell me about this Cy Williams.
He was one of the first big sluggers of the live ball era. Well, he actually got going before that. He led the major leagues in homers in 1916 with 12. And then, once the live ball era began, he led the majors again, tied with Babe Ruth in 1923 with 41, by which time he was 35.
Okay, if you're going to be tied with Babe Ruth for most homers, you're a damn good slugger.
He also led the league in the National League in 1920 with 15. And then at the age of 39, in 1927, he led the National League yet again with 30 homers. And his best batting average was the year before that, when he hit .345 and led the league in slugging at the age of 38.
That's impressive. And how many career homers did he hit?
In 19 seasons, he hit 251, which was a ton for that era.
Of course.
Behind only Ruth and Hornsby on the all-time list when he retired. But he only hit 49 of them before the age of 32. So he's one of those guys, you got to wonder how many homers he would have hit if he'd have played his whole career in the live ball era. I mean, 4 homer titles in any era is nothing to sneeze at. And he straddled two eras.
That's a guy that should get a lot more love.
Yeah.
But hey, the Cy or Ted Williams shifts, was Ted Williams really not able to hit the ball to left field?
He very much was able to do so. Williams beat out Boudreau for the 1948 batting title, right? But Boudreau had been ahead of Williams for part of the summer. And this did not sit well with the best pure hitter of his era.
Or any era.
Yeah, that's true. It's Ted Williams.
Yeah.
Well, okay, one day, the Red Sox have a doubleheader with the White Sox, and this is when Boudreau with Cleveland, he's slightly ahead of Williams in the batting race, late in the season. So Boston catcher Bertie Tebbetts is sort of needling Williams, telling him, looks like that Frenchman's got you beat. And Williams says, the hell he has. And he goes 7 for 8 with 3 opposite field hits to left, beating the shift just for the average, right? Yeah. And his final time up, with his average now ahead of Boudreau's, he yells over to Tebbetts, this one's for Ted, and homers.
See, we can chalk that up to wind-ups going horribly wrong.
Yeah, but it was a teammate. It was a teammate.
Okay.
It was a wind-up, like not...
But in a good way. Okay, so not opposition player, but an actual teammate trying to wind up. Okay, that's more of an inspiration, like kind of like...
How cool was Ted Williams say, this one's for Ted.
That's
and then hit
so
homer.
Cool.
Ted Williams ended his career in 1960 with a homer in his final at bat, final day of the season, after already announcing his retirement. Oh, hey, again, back to the shift and stuff. During spring training 1949, Matt Batts, once again, remember him?
Great name.
He was catching batting practice, and Williams is pounding line drive after line drive to right field, left-handed hitter. And then he turns to Batts, he goes, Batts, I'm going to show you something. And the next pitch, he lines the ball to deep left field. He goes, you see that, Batts? I can hit the left field. I can hit there any damn time I want. But my money's in right field. That's what they pay me to do.
Imagine being good enough to just have that kind of control. To just be like, you know what? I know people are giving me a lot of stick for like hitting it to right field, but I can line drive to left. It's no problem.
He hit 400 against Major League pitching.
It's no problem. Like, you cannot give me any shit for that.
No.
Like...
I think Paul Wainer apparently had that sort of level of talent too back in the 30s and 20s. Here's a story about a would-be slugger that sort of involves Ted Williams.
All right.
Okay? As long as I'm going sidetrack. This is fun. Okay. Dick Wakefield, right? As a rookie with the Tigers in 1943. As a rookie, finished 6th in the AL MVP race. There was no Rookie of the Year then. He hit .316. Oh, wow. He led the American League in hits and doubles. And in 1944, he only appeared in 78 games. That's half a season. But in spite of that, was 5th in the MVP race and got 2 first-place votes.
Wait, in only half a season?
Now, he hit .355. He had a .464 on-base percentage. He slugged .576 in that half season, all of which would have led the league if he'd had more at-bats.
But still, would you really vote for a position player for MVP with just half a season of playing time? That doesn't seem like something you would do.
Okay, well, here's the thing. After 1943, the rookie year, he went to naval aviation training because, the war and all.
Yeah.
But in July 1944, the Navy decided it had enough pilots or something because he was allowed to take an honorable discharge and go home and then take his chances with the regular draft. Okay. So he rejoined the Tigers in July 1944.
Right, it's starting to click.
For Dick Wakefield, it very much did click. Tigers were in 7th place when he came back. But with him as the booming catalyst that second half of the season, they played 700 ball.
Wow.
And only lost the pennant to the Browns on the final day of the season. So that's why he got the MVP votes and stuff. It's not player that played the most. It's most valuable player, I guess. That's
most impactful player, maybe.
He definitely had 7th place to second.
Playing 700 ball is crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But nobody that average on base percentage of slugging, nobody in the AL had anything close to that season.
That's freaking nature stuff.
Well, the day after that, literally the day after the end of the season, Wakefield got his draft notice. He re-entered the Navy and he spent 1945 away from the majors.
Okay.
He and Ted Williams, here's where he comes in, ended up together on Hawaii at the end of the war. Williams was a Marine pilot, like I talked about last time. There, Williams and Wakefield made a series of bets. They made 5 of them about who would beat the other one in 1946 in like average or RBI. I don't remember all 5 of the categories, but they made $1,000 on each one, right? And Wakefield, of course, bragged about those bets. You're betting Ted Williams. Ted Williams actually betting to you because he thinks maybe you're going to beat him in some of those things. When he got back,
it's a brag.
Yeah, it's total brag.
Massive flex. Yeah.
When he got back to the States, but baseball commissioner Happy Chandler ordered them to call off the bets because there's no betting in baseball.
Oh no, of course not. Good heavens.
Good heavens.
We could not have that.
Wakefield, he got paid star money, way more than an average player. Yeah. So the papers in 1946, they printed the Wakefield-Williams comparisons game by game for a little while until it got too embarrassing for Dick Wakefield.
I'm starting to guess there's a reason I never heard of the guy.
Okay, in 1946, he hit .268 with 12 homers and 59 RBI.
It's not terrible, but what about Williams?
342, 38 homers, 123 RBIs, MVP, and a 497 on-base percentage, 667 slugging percentage, and a major league leading 142 runs scored.
That's not even close. Poor Wakefield, dude.
He hung around, he bounced around the rest of the decade, mostly part-time. He never topped 300 again. He never topped 12 homers. But here's the thing. Dick Wakefield wasn't bad.
No.
His career OPS plus is 131, which is better than a bunch of Hall of Famers. He was an above-average hitter for his career, but he wasn't amazing, and he had to be amazing after that start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he had to kick on, basically.
Yeah.
So sort of like, what's his face, Benny Kauf?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, good call. Except, okay, without getting arrested
Yeah, of
for
course,
actual theft.
without
the theft charges and
the
stuff.
felonies.
Okay, but Wakefield was the original bonus baby. He was signed just out of high school by the Tigers for $51,000. And when you consider that at that time, fellow Tiger, two-time MVP Hank Greenberg was the highest paid player in the major leagues and was getting $55,000.
That's a lot of unnecessary pressure that gets created on a young person like that.
But it's still, you saw how great he was before 1945. But here's something telling about what such a bonus at age 19 or whatever can do to you. At the tail end of his career, he was talking with some reporters, and one said that baseball was a good life. And here's a quote, right? "What's good about it?" Wakefield asked. The writers were speechless. "Suppose a ball player did get a big salary," he went on. "He had to practice in the morning, play a game in the afternoon, and was bounced around by the schedule from town to town through the hot summer months. Meanwhile, taxes are taking a big bite out of his pay. And furthermore, how long is that guy likely to last in the big leagues? At 30 or so, he must look for something else to do. Don't tell me baseball's a good life."
That's pretty bitter.
And on Dick Wakefield's bitter tone, my friend Burns, we shall leave our audience for the day.
But what about Stan Musial? Like, what about the other closest batting races ever? What about all of that?
Well, there is all that yet to cover, and a few more sluggers I haven't gotten to. So we are.
Insane.
I'm not kidding. For the first time, we're going to do a part 4.
This could be its own podcast.
Yeah, Sluggers in the 1940s podcast.
In perpetuity.
I that would be kind of fun, actually. But the next time we're coming back, we are doing part 4 of Sluggers in the 1940s, and it will start with Stan Musial, even though there's some other guys I want to talk about, and then it will do the closest batting races ever, because I've said I was going to do that, right?
Okay, for you listening out there, if you're unsatisfied, I'm unsatisfied. Okay, I'm left here wanting, and this is
okay. Well, I'm unsatisfied too, but if we had more time to spend on these, we could make them more often. So to everyone out there, to help us do that, please join us at patreon.com. Just go there, look up Indy Nidell's Baseball History Time Machine. We only have one tier there, which is, I think, $4 a month. But it gets you the episodes early, and it helps us a lot.
And follow us on Instagram, too. Talk to us there. Tell us what you think about things. We love the engagement.
Yeah, totally. So after that, well, you want to take us home, partner?
Sure. It's goodbye from me, Burns.
And me, Indy Nidell.
And the Baseball History Podcast.
I was going to say Time Machine, but you can say podcast. Baseball History Podcast.
Baseball History. I should probably do that again.
Wait, no. The Sluggers of the 1940s Time Machine.
Okay.
Good night from us for the Sluggers of the 1940s Time Machine.
Because, I mean, this is 4 episodes.
4, that's 8 weeks.
That's crazy.
I didn't plan it that way.
There was some great stuff in here, though. There was some great stuff.
But everybody start talking, and you're like, tell me about Joe Wilhoit. I tell you all I know about Joe Wilhoit.
So.
And I got to talk about Master Joe McCarthy.
Dude, Master Joe. That dude sounds like one of the best managers probably ever.
No, he is. He's a Hall of Famer for being one of the best managers of all time.
So who else is up there in terms of managers? Like, if you had to do like top 5, right?
Okay, in terms of winning percentage, because remember, okay, he did have a lot of talent to work with.
Yeah, sure.
Like Casey Stengel had all the Yankees in the 50s, but in the 30s and 40s with the Braves and Dodgers, he had some shitty teams. He did the best he could with them. Ooh. But Frank Soleil, his winning percentage is like 20 points lower than McCarthy's. And it was him that ran the Braves, ran Boston in the 1890s when they had the dynasty. And it was him that built what would be Frank Chance's Chicago dynasty. And then he got sick and died just when Frank Chance took over and got all the credit. And John McGraw is slightly below all that. Those are some of the best.
Who's the guy with the pocket for his cigarettes? The Orioles coach?
Talking about Earl Weaver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a specifically made pouch in
I'm still recording this,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, this is in the episode. Don't worry.
Yeah, but he had a specifically made a patch or pouch on his. If you go look at the pictures for his cigarettes.
Now, Joe McCarthy was a big cigar smoker.
Okay.
Right. And he didn't mind players smoking cigars, but he didn't like players smoking pipes. He thought that was sort of like weakness. Like and Red Rolfe, the third baseman for the Yankees, Red Rolfe. Yeah. Rolfe was a pipe smoker. Rolfe totally hid it all the time from him, thinking, I don't want McCarthy to find out. Of course, McCarthy knew the whole time, and he looked down on him because of it. Like pipe smokers, they're not serious. They're unserious.
They're unserious. Is crazy.
So, okay, but next time we're going to talk about Stan Musial and some more close batting races. Yes. And I have a couple more sluggers to talk about. So there's more. I haven't covered a couple of National League sluggers.
There's a lot of meat left on the bone here.
Yeah.
A lot of meat.
So, a lot of meat. 4 episodes. I think people will be happy. All right. Okay. Now we will see you next time on the Sluggers of the 1940s Time Machine.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye, guys.